Wolf, Tenet's being rebutted by the Bush administration for his take on the pre-war intelligence debate, but he's also being skewered by some former CIA officers. And one account of an encounter he had just after September 11th at the White House is raising a few eyebrows here in Washington.
The day after 9/11, were President Bush and his conservative allies making connections to Saddam Hussein? Former CIA Director George Tenet describes an encounter that stunned him, he says, on September 12, 2001. Tenet claims as he was going into the White House early that morning, Richard Perle was leaving. In his new book, Tenet writes that Perle, a so-called neoconservative who headed a Pentagon advisory board at the time, quote, turned to me and said, Iraq has to pay a price for what happened yesterday. They bear responsibility.
And I remember thinking to myself as I'm about to go in and brief the president, what the hell is he talking about?
Perle tells the Weekly Standard he was in France that day, denies ever saying that to Tenet. Tenet now says his dates may have been off, but insists the exchange happened. Here's what Perle did tell CNN 5 days after 9/11.
Even if we cannot prove to the standards that we enjoy in our own civil society that they were involved, we do know, for example, that Saddam Hussein has ties to Osama bin Laden.
Tenet has testified to a Senate committee there were no operational ties between Saddam and bin Laden.